Welcome to Radio Express World News, presented by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. A court ruling in Florida, United States, turned out in favor of the American Federation of Teachers. The ruling called the state's requirement to open schools for in-person instruction as unconstitutional as it disregards safety. Local school boards now have the liberty to decide when and how students should return for classroom instruction. As schools in New York are scheduled to reopen soon in a hybrid model, Mayor Bill de Blasio has urged school principals to apply by this Friday to set up outdoor classes in their schoolyards. Although weather may play a pivotal role in the number of days outdoor classes can be conducted, de Blasio believes it is a good alternative. Meanwhile, two fraternities were banned by the University of Kansas for not following social distancing and mask-wearing guidelines when classes started on Monday. And following the identification of 5 new cases of coronavirus in Kappa Alpha Theta sorority, students have been placed on quarantine. The federal moratorium that has been protecting around 12 million tenants is coming to an end, and legal aid lawyers are getting ready to defend renters. Moving on, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced the extension of lockdown by 4 more days to Sunday midnight. And people will be required to wear masks in public transport too unless they have a medical condition. An increase in the number of cases necessitated this move. In effect, the largest cluster of infections has affected about 101 people in the nation. She also stated, if it weren't for level 3, this cluster would be exponential. Of that, I have no doubt. This is a contained cluster, but it is our biggest one. And that means the tail will be long and the cases will keep coming for a while to come. A naturist holiday resort in France is creating a new wave of concerns as nearly 100 holidaymakers tested positive for the virus. The popular Cap d'Agde resort on France's Mediterranean coast recorded 38 cases on Monday and 47 more on Wednesday. Incidentally, the infection rate among the naturists were 4 times more than in the village itself. More positive cases are expected to show up in the following weeks. This outbreak comes at a time when the country reported almost 4,900 new coronavirus cases in 24 hours, as the health minister expressed his concerns over the surge causing a nationwide impact and ramped up testing to 700,000 a week. Over to Berlin, the expectation that less congested roads during the pandemic would be safer for cyclists was disproved as a woman fell victim to a lorry on Friday in the district of Reinickendorf. While district authorities believe that pop-up bike lanes would reduce the chance of accidents, Siegfried Brockman, an accident researcher, commented that the coronavirus crisis has mainly reduced the number of passengers on public transport, while the number of cars on the city's roads has risen back to normal levels or higher. Moving on, Jair Bolsonaro, president of Brazil, issued a threat on a reporter that questioned his family's financial dealings. To this effect, the reporter from a reputed newspaper agency questioned the transfer of thousands of pounds into his wife's bank account by a former policeman who is allegedly linked to Rio's mafia. Soon, social media was filled with the same query posed by journalists who joined in the counterattack against Bolsonaro. Consequent to the continued protests in Belarus, 2 opposition leaders were arrested on Monday. Sergei Delusky, a factory worker turned strike leader, and Olga Kovalkova, an aide to Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, the opposition politician, were the 2 people arrested in this regard. Both of them were members of a coordination council that was set up to facilitate a transition of power in the nation. A criminal case has been registered against the council. India will be one among several other Asian countries participating in the multilateral exercise Kavkaz 2020 to be held in southern Russia in September. A squadron of 160 personnel from the Indian Army and 40 troops of the Indian Air Force will be participating. Meanwhile, a rather unfortunate incident has left at least 90 people trapped under the rubble of a 5-story building that collapsed in Mumbai. According to authorities, around 28 people were rescued. However, the number of fatalities is yet to be determined. Latest data from the nation's coronavirus dashboard shows 60,975 new infections and 848 deaths recorded as of today. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, a 33-year-old man is showing symptoms of a relapse of the deadly coronavirus, leading to fresh concerns. The man had recovered from the virus about 5 months back and is reinfected now after a trip to Spain. Symptoms this time around are mild to none, and researchers at the University of Hong Kong are working to understand the relapse in the light of the validity of vaccines. While many parts of China have lifted restrictions, a Muslim-dominated city, Urumqi, had millions of people locked indoors for 40 days to fight a virus resurgence. However, despite the situation being brought under control, residents were forced to stay confined to their homes with restrictions still in place. With no access to healthcare services either, residents are blaming the reigning Communist Party for the harsh, racistically biased lockdown. Ending today's bulletin, Bali has reversed its earlier plan to allow foreign tourists and has postponed tourist entry to the end of this year. Bali, being Indonesia's most popular tourist destination, is suffering an economic setback due to this decision. The country laid off around 2,700 workers and placed another 74,000 people on unpaid leave as the tourist industry stood severely impacted due to the pandemic. With that, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the next program on Radio Express. To receive Radio Express English news and English programs in your WhatsApp, please send a WhatsApp message, English programs, to 90727 95547. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Radio Express. Thank you.